There is so much info out there on sales that it can be overwhelming, especially around the basics. In this video, I'm going to cover the core basics you must master first, starting with number 1. Have you ever been told how to sell something only to find out later that that advice was completely wrong? It's frustrating, isn't it? Well, I've got some really good news for you. You're definitely not alone, because the truth is most advice out there is complete bullshit that's about sales. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some really great sales managers out there and salespeople out there who do know their stuff. But if you're going to do what most salespeople think, or most managers think, or even what most CEOs think about sales, then you're definitely in trouble, because there's so much old school garbage out there that if you follow it, you are setting yourself up for failure. That's why I'm here to tell you that you should actually do the opposite of what most people are telling you to do. That's right. If everyone else is telling you to do it one way, you should do it the other way. Like, think about this. The data shows only about half of salespeople are actually hitting their number. So why are you taking their advice? Now, of course, obviously, you don't want to be just average, right? You probably want to be one of the best salespeople possible. That's why you're watching this video. So how do you actually do that? That's where it gets really interesting. You see, there is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to sales. What works for one person may not work for another. This is actually why you must take core basic fundamentals, use it as a baseline, and then add your own style on top. Number 2, most of what we think a salesperson is supposed to be like is actually wrong. Forget about the gregarious, backslapping, funny guy or girl. That's just like a silly stereotype from the past. If you want to be a successful salesperson in today's world, you need to be the complete opposite of what you think a salesperson should be. You need to be someone who can read people, follow a process, and engage in conversations using a systematic approach. Being different from the average salesperson is actually key, because those people are actually hurting their own sales, and that's why they have average numbers. Now, you see, being pushy and aggressive also may have worked in the past, but in today's time, it's just not going to be effective. Customers are coming to the table, already have done a ton of research in advance, and they have more choices than ever. They want someone who they can trust, someone who will listen to their needs and provide them with solutions that actually work. And that's where you come in. By being the opposite of what most people expect, you're actually setting yourself up for success. Number 3, one of the best things you can do is have a real sales system to follow. If you're just winging it, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot. And listen, I don't care whose system you use. It could be mine, it could be your boss's, it could be, shoot, your grandma's, or even your dog. But the important thing is that you have a system that works in place. You want something that's been proven to work in today's world. Let me give you an example. Say you're talking to a prospect and suddenly you don't know what to say next. There's a lull in the conversation. You're panicking, thinking, okay, oh no, what do I do? Your body language changes, your tone changes, your attitude changes whether you realize it or not. That is when you're most likely to either ask an irrelevant question, or worse, you start going to a pitch or story. Meanwhile, the prospect starts to lose interest, their trust in you goes down, and your win rate ultimately goes down. But if you have a system in place, you don't have to worry about that. You know exactly what you need to do next. You can handle any situation with ease, with laser-like precision, like a pro athlete. A systematic approach leads to predictable, systematic results. Number 4, one of the best ways to build trust with a prospect is showing them that you understand them and their world. One super simple way to do this is by doing some research on them before making contact. This doesn't mean you spend hours digging through their background, but it does mean knowing some key information about their company, background, interests. And there are so many tools out there, from basic Google searches to reading earnings transcripts, 10K reports, using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, press releases, social media, etc. The separation really is in the preparation. Number 5, most salespeople out there think that the key to success is the gift of gab. Being able to talk and talk and talk until your customer is so overwhelmed that they just say yes and then just buy. But here's the thing, your prospects don't want to hear you talk. They don't care about your life, your story, your product, or your company. Heck, they don't even care about you. What they do care about is solving the challenges they're facing right now. So all the talking you're actually doing, most of the time, it's just a waste of time. They just don't care. In fact, sometimes you'll actually create objections by talking too much. What you need to do instead is engage them in a conversation, a real two-way conversation dialogue where both parties are providing value. You want to get them talking and engage with the conversation. So forget about the gift of gab. Talk is cheap, as they say. What you need is a real connection with your prospects. Get them talking, really listening to what they have to say, and then provide them with the solutions they actually need. Number 6, and this ties right into number 5, which is ask more questions. However, not all questions are created equal. You need to ask the right questions in a systematic approach to engage your prospect and get them talking. It's important to avoid dominating the conversation and doing all the talking, which is a common mistake many people make. Instead, you should aim to get your prospects talking most of the time. This way, you can learn more about them, what they're actually looking for. And the data shows that top performing salespeople ask insightful and valuable questions to determine whether there's a good fit between their product and service and the prospect's needs. Asking more questions is key to uncovering these needs and helping the prospect prospects see the value in what you're offering. So don't be afraid to ask questions, but be strategic about it. Make sure you're asking the right questions, engage your prospect, and to learn more about what they're looking for. Number 7, it's important to appear confident without being overly assertive. Some salespeople make the mistake of putting their prospects on like a pedestal and treating them like royalty or that person is above them. However, this approach can actually make prospects uncomfortable and cause them to lose trust in the salesperson that they're talking to. Instead, you should aim to be a true peer to your prospects. This means treating them as equals rather than putting on a pedestal or bowing down like some sort of servant. While you don't want to be like too casual or callous, you should approach a conversation as if you're speaking with another person who puts on their pants one leg at a time, just like you do. When you behave and you act like one of their peers, your prospect will feel more comfortable and at ease. This can make them more receptive to your message and questions and more likely to trust you. It's important to strike a really good balance between being confident and assertive without coming across as arrogant or pushy. So speak to them with confident respect, and that needs to be seen through how you talk, how you ask questions, how you carry yourself, and more. Number 8, shift your mindset from trying to persuade your prospects to buy what you're selling to understanding their needs and offering a solution. You don't want to waste your time and energy trying to convince someone who doesn't need your product or service. Instead, focus on having a conversation with them and asking powerful questions that help you understand their challenges, concerns, and goals. And you might even be converting a latent need to an active need as a result of that. And once you have a clear understanding of their needs, you can then show them how your product or service can actually solve their problems. This way, doing business with you becomes just a natural and logical step for your prospects. So stop trying to persuade them and start engaging them with meaningful conversations. Number 9, don't be afraid to lose deals. Now, I know a lot of salespeople out there are really scared of this possibility, but this is a normal part of the process. Like, even top performing salespeople experience losses. It's not the end of the world. If you think about something like baseball, if you're batting 300 plus, you're pretty freaking awesome. That means hitting the ball 3+ times out of 10, about 30%, which is incredible. Meaning 6 to 7 times out of 10, they are not hitting, right? But when you are afraid of losing the sale, it can actually make you weaker or appear desperate with dealing with prospect. Ultimately, you're more timid walking up to the proverbial plate here. On the flip side, if you are confident and unafraid of losing a sale, you will come off more genuine and trustworthy to your prospects. They'll sense your confidence. There's no commission breath that only comes when you're desperate for the sale. Number 10, be a forever student of the game. Learning is an essential part of being successful in sales. As a sales pro, you need to constantly learn and improve your skills to stay ahead of the competition. If you stop learning, you risk falling behind and your sales will suffer as a result. In today's time, there's so many ways to continue learning as a salesperson, whether it's reading books on sales and business, taking courses, watching YouTube, attending conferences, getting a sales coach, and seeking feedback from colleagues, mentors, and so much more. This keeps you fresh and in the game. It's important to remember that learning is a lifelong journey, and you should always be looking for ways to improve your skills and knowledge. And even if you're relatively new to sales, you can still become a master by dedicating yourself and learning and practicing your craft. So just like doctors who have to go to medical school, they then continuously are educating themselves. Salespeople as well need to continually learn and improve their skills too. Number 11, embrace discomfort. When we become too comfortable in our current situation, we tend to stop pushing ourselves to learn and grow. And this is especially true in sales, where success is often directly tied to one's ability to innovate, adapt, and overcome challenges. For instance, I see this often with a lot of salespeople when they start a new job. They may start off strong, then they become comfortable and complacent once they start seeing the results. When this happens, they may stop putting in the same level of effort and creativity that led to their initial success. Instead, they slowly stop doing the things that got them to be successful to begin with. Consequently, results go down and so do their earnings. This is exactly why when you see athletes that first go pro, many start strong, then after their first season, results go down and they stop doing the hard things that got them there to begin with. To avoid this, lean towards discomfort. Push yourself to do hard things daily and step outside your comfort zone. As those hard things get easier, push a little more, and this will allow you to grow in skills far beyond everyone else. Comfort will lead to mediocrity. This also means testing and trying out new things. For instance, my voicemail script crushes and gets a 70% callback rate, but it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable because they've never done anything like it before. And when some of them hear it, many are scared to even try it. And thus, they will create all types of excuses and why it won't work, even though they have not tried it, or if they only try maybe 1 or 2 times. It makes them so uncomfortable, and it's so much easier to live in denial and comfortability, even though thousands of reps who use it swear by it. So lean towards discomfort and embrace it, as that is a core basic. Now, if you're a master at lean towards discomfort and you want to learn my exact voicemail script that gets a 70% callback rate, I'll see you in the next video right here.